From Atlanta, Georgia, welcome to Fearfully and Wonderfully Me, a podcast for women on leadership and life skills with Rhea Story. Rhea shares powerful life and leadership principles, helping you maximize your potential and become the woman God created you to be.
Hello, everyone. Today's episode is on miracles and not mistakes. And really, my inspiration for this episode is Romans 8:28, which is a Bible verse. So, if you're not a person of faith, I certainly respect that. And perhaps you want to move on to a different episode. But today's episode really is truly faith-based and inspired from Romans 8:28, which says, "And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God and to those who are called according to his purpose." And, I come back to that verse over and over again, as I'm sure many people do. In fact, I've got it underlined and highlighted in my Bible here. Because I think so often it's easy to get caught up in the trials and the challenges of life. And really, this verse reminds us that God creates miracles and not mistakes, and that every situation can be used for our good. But so much of the time we get focused on thinking that what we're going through, or the adversity that we're facing, or the obstacle that we're facing is bigger than we are, bigger than our faith, bigger than God. And it's not, it's just absolutely not true. God creates the miracles in our lives instead of the mistakes. Now, bad things absolutely happen. I'm not saying they don't. But this verse reminds us that every situation has the potential to be used for our good and become a miracle instead of a mistake. And I think that's something we need to be reminded of frequently, because life is hard. We're going through situations at tough times. Maybe it's difficulty on your job, that you're facing a challenging situation. Maybe it's something in your personal life that you're going through, or maybe it's just, pain and hurt. Maybe you've lost a loved one recently. And it's so easy for that pain to become anger or hurt or bitterness in our life. And this verse really reminds us that when all things, not just the fun things, not just the little things, but all things can be used for our good when we love God. It reminds us that even the difficult things that we're going through can be used in a positive way when we let God work in our life. And then that pain becomes joy, because it changes our perspective. It changes the way we look at the situation. So I just want to share with you a prayer that I wrote. It's one of the prayers that I have in my book, A Grateful Heart, Fearfully and Wonderfully Made, A Grateful Heart. And this book is really just 30 days of practicing gratitude and abundance for women. And it's one of the things that I come back to, is that so much of the time, and I know I say it a lot, but it's just so powerful. When we focus on what we're grateful for, our situation, our perspective of this situation changes. And when we do that, the situation itself has potential to change. So I wanted to share this with you. It says, "O eternal God, help me to live more fully in appreciation and to surround myself with reminders of your love. I ask you to bring joy into my heart in this situation and help me remember that I am protected by your might. In you, I am renewed and restored." Amen. So my challenge for you today, or my encouragement for you today, is to stop where you are right now and think about what you're going through, or something that you've been through in the past that was painful or difficult or some sort of adversity. But stop and reflect on one blessing that has come out of that. And if you're not able to do that, then stop and think about one blessing in your life right now today. It might just be grateful for the cup of coffee that you had this morning, and just the fact that we had clean water coming out of the kitchen sink when we got up this morning. There are so many people that don't have even the little things that we take for granted every single day. So, if maybe what you're going through is so difficult that you're like, I just can't see the blessings, and then take a step back and just look for the blessings in your environment. I'm reminded of the story, and I don't know if I've touched on it before, but I'm reminded of the story of Corrie ten Boom in the concentration camp. And Corrie and her sister were in the concentration camp in World War II, and they were mistreated horribly. They were starved. They were physically mistreated, emotionally, and they really were just dying as they were in one of the concentration camps. And Corrie and her sister are sitting there praying and talking and just seeking the good in their situation. And they start talking about all the little things that they can be grateful for. Like they're grateful that they have each other. They're grateful that they have even the thin blanket that they have to sleep under. And Corrie's sister says, I'm grateful for the fleas that are biting us. God, thank you for the fleas. And Corrie said, I can't do that. I've got to draw the line there. I can't be grateful for the fleas that are biting us as we sit here in this cold, miserable straw and we try to sleep and we're starving. And I can't be grateful for the fleas. And Corrie's sister said, no, we're going to be grateful for the fleas because God has a purpose for all things, even if we can't see it. And time passed, and Corrie's sister actually passed away within a few weeks of that story in their prayer. And Corrie realized when one of the concentration camp guards told her that they didn't come in and harass them in that particular barracks. So where Corrie and her sister were, that particular barracks never got searched by the guards. A lot of times in the concentration camps, the guards would come and they would search for contraband or things that the prisoners weren't allowed to keep. But the particular barracks that Corrie and her sister in was never searched, and so they were able to keep a little copy of a New Testament. And, they hung on to that, and just that little sliver of hope gave them so much hope and so much joy. And Corrie later realized when she was told by one of the guards, she said, the guard told me that they never came in and searched our barracks because of the terrible flea problem. And the guards didn't want to go in with a straw where there was so many fleas biting. And Corrie realized that even the fleas that were biting them had been used for good by God. Now think about that. Her sister was grateful for the fleas that were biting them, and it's so hard to be grateful for the fleas that are biting us in our daily walk. But all things can be used together for our good when we love God. And it was a powerful moment for Corrie. She realized that she too should have been grateful for the fleas because they served a purpose. And so, I know that we all have our own different kind of fleas, so to speak, in our life and things that are nagging at us or stressing us out or something that we're going through that's weighing heavily on our mind. But all things, even the fleas, have a purpose in God's world because He creates the miracles in our life and not the mistakes. So, until next time.
Start increasing your influence and maximizing your potential with Ria's audiobooks. Available at audible.com, amazon.com, and iBooks. Please visit riastory.com to learn about Ria's books, resources, speaking, and training programs. Thanks for listening.